Welcome to the HU Move Makers podcast, where we highlight folks that are blazing the trail and making moves in Howard culture. All right, welcome to the HU Move Makers podcast, where we highlight folks that have contributed to the legacy of Howard University at the highest levels. Today, we got two members of that famed group, Shai, our brother from New Jersey, stand-up Jersey, Darnell Van Rensalier. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Actor, composer. We also got Dr. Garfield Bright. Y'all might know him as Garfield X. Yep. Some might know him as a brother with the master's degree in African American Studies or the PhD in Educational Policy, or some might know him as professor over there at Georgia State. Did I get that right?
All those different overlapping standpoints, yeah.
But if you've probably been married in the last 20 plus years, or you had a Valentine's date, or if you had to do some makeup for some stuff that you did wrong to your girl, you might know it from If I Ever Fall in Love. 3 times platinum album. And I swear, man, that joint is a classic, man. You know what? Like the lyrics to this song, I didn't even truly understand until I met a girl at Howard, to be honest,
that's
man.
What's up, man.
Because, I mean, all the lyrics, you know, I mean, it's crazy, man. So first I want to get into, like, the way y'all sang this song at such a young age, you know what I'm saying? Like, where did that come from? Because those lyrics are deep.
Well, you couldn't tell us that we was young, believe it or not. In our mind, we was grown men, thought we knew everything. So, you know, we was fronting without knowing we was fronting. So we was reaching towards an ideal that we thought we were, but we totally weren't even that yet. But somewhere in the fray of that, we did have a few God-given skills and talents that allowed us to kind of express what we thought we were. You know, saying we haven't even gone through nothing close to that, and we thought we had. And it the lyrics was just Carl wrote the song, like in all transparency. Carl Martin, the other member, he actually wrote those lyrics, but the arrangements and then ultimately the music version and stuff like that. You know, Darnell and Mark, you know, pretty much were the mainstays in putting that part together. And then singing it in arrangement wise, we always did that. But it was like a practice song for us, to be honest with you, before it became some kind of single. We used it just kind of like practice our long notes and our harmonies and get our breathing right for when we did have to really go into battle and sing some stuff. That song kind of like got us straight. That was our crucible song, you know what I mean? But because it was, I guess, a cappella and it was written by us and it had its own appeal. And you know what we was talking about, and it wasn't like overly sexual or anything like that. So it was universal enough to kind of like stand the test of time. It was like, that was kind of a secret weapon that God let us possess.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. I mean, that joint is a classic, bro. A classic. I mean, so, you know, before we even get to that point, man, because y'all at Howard, less than a year later, you're on Arsenio. Y'all doing all these crazy things, traveling all over the world.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And doing it at a height where you got Jodeci, you got Boys to Men, you got, you know, it's really at a time where you had to be able to sing without a beat, you know.
Yeah, for real.
Y'all was doing that. But I want to figure out, like, what, you know, for you, Darnell, tell me about your upbringing, man, and what got you to Howard.
I'm from Paterson, New Jersey. Played trumpet coming up. Shout out to Mr. Nelson. He was our music teacher, our band director at Eastside High School. And he put the work in to develop a great organization, man. That
ain't lean on me, is it?
Yeah, exactly. You know me. Yeah. So, you know, I got to be a part of the Marching 100 trumpet player. And also, too, my father, Skip, he managed the group Riff, you know, in the movie Lean on Me, the guys that sang the school song.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were actually a group. So I got to sit around while they practice, you know, long hours with my dad around the piano and learn harmonies and mix with my trumpet, you know, experience. Yeah, man, it just got me to Howard, you know, partial music scholarship, band member, music major. And then I met my roommate Garfield. As soon as
y'all was roommates.
Freshman year.
Okay,
roommate.
dope. Where at?
We was in a dorm that you don't even know nothing about called Sutton Plaza.
Sutton Plaza.
Yeah, downtown, 1230 13th Street, bro. Down in the realness of it all.
Oh,
Fine
wow.
real estate nowadays, though. But back then,
Yeah.
it was grimy.
Yeah, that's way before my time. I got to Howard in '99, so I was in
Oh
Drew.
yeah, man. Yeah, they probably had shut Sutton and Eaton down 15 years probably by then. But we had a shuttle service, a shuttle bus that caught us down there and brought us all the way up. Sometimes it broke down. We had to walk that 2-mile stretch to get to campus. It was crazy.
Damn.
But I would rather be down there because we were not on campus and we were freshmen. And that was my roommate freshman year, like day one, for real. That was my day one. And
So what about you, Garfield? Where you from and what brought you to Howard?
I grew up in Brockton, Massachusetts, man, home of Marvin Hagler and Rocky Marciano. To the point that our mascot on the high school was the Boxers. So we had a boxer dog with dribbling the basketball on my basketball uniform. And I played ball. Our team was like top 25 in the nation my senior year and all that. But I had a few scholarship offers, but my dad took me on a visit. My dad worked for the National Education Association, whose headquarters were in D.C. And he made the mistake during my spring break one year of bringing me to D.C. doing one of his big 3-day meeting things that he had to do downtown D.C. in his job. He dropped me off at Howard at like 10 o'clock on a Friday, 10 o'clock a.m. And when noon came, I just happened to be sitting on the stairs in front of Fine Arts Building, just looking at the campus, just marveling at it, looking at Douglas, taking it in, that damn door, that bell rang at noon, dun, 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 them doors open. Them girls came out of every crevice and corner from all angles. Seemed like they dropped in parachutes, man. It was like raining, just beautiful girls. I went straight to my pop's office, like, Dad, this is where I'm going to school right here. And that was my junior year, to the point where I didn't even apply for anywhere but Howard my senior year. Like, if I didn't get accepted, I was just I don't know what I was going to be doing, but that's the only school I applied to. Man, and I got accepted. Thank God my SATs were pretty cool.
Welcome to the Goldfish Village podcast. As a Chinese proverb says, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. At Goldfish, our goal is to teach individuals just like you how to build wealth through real estate.
At the same time, the theme music to our lives is Rakim and KRS-One and Public Enemy, those sounds, those revolutionary sounds, those God body sounds, all of that proliferating the atmosphere, then the Brand Nubians and the advent of A Tribe Called Quest and Busta Rhymes and all of these different pieces floating around the milieu. Then you got protests. You got on campus like Steve Coakley. You got the Nubian Islamic Hebrews. You got the Ansar Allah community. You got the Nation of Islam presence thick on campus. Then in the neighborhood, you got the barriers finally being broken down. The first generation of Howard dudes that are just real enough that's in Howard that ain't just some Bammers like the DC boys thinking, that they real enough to be kind of cool with some of the DC heads and break down that Howard versus the community, talented 10th versus the lowly hood. It was more like we from the hood, but we just at college. What's happening? What's cracking? That started. Then you got the HU protests where we took over the A building and stuff like that. Then you got Spike Lee, this new black dude, come out on the scene with Do the Right Thing and, School Days being this controversial depiction of black Greek life and people questioning in metacognitive ways about who they and how they think about what blackness is and what that should look like and who carries the banner. So you got these strong revolutionary tentacles in the past mixed in with this contemporary fresh hip hop swag coming in the present, blending and mixing in strange and cool, weird ways that is rife with critique and is also, which is a bastion of hip hop and politics. You got Reaganomics, you got crack, the influx of, you got the murders that come with that and proliferate the scene. So you got dangerous times, real times, fun times, coming of age times, but you sharpen your steel just by living in them times if you survive them times. It was like that. And so what comes out of it is the Puffies and the Shais of the world and the different people who all came, Eric Roberson and, even like the Drew Hills who was living in DC and Baltimore during the time, who came out, and all these different types of people who are, still stand in the day, but they made out of a certain kind of metal coming from that time period. Howard was like the crucible spot for the political, the hood, like the voice, the young new scene, the youth culture coming up. We were like carriers of all of that, those jackets at one time. And that's what we was looking at when we came into Howard. You know.
So I mean, so when you got there, what was the goal? You know, when you got there, were you trying to make a mark for yourself on, like, were y'all thinking, man, I'm gonna be a singer? Was it like, hey, I'm gonna be something in politics? You know, what was the move that y'all was trying to, like, what was the brand you was trying to create, or the impact that you guys were trying to have when you got to campus?
Darnell, you want to start?
Yeah, well, me personally, like I spoke to earlier, man, my music teacher and then my father, they had a big influence on me. You know what I mean? My father's a social worker. And like I said, my music teacher, just to see the transformative work he did through music. I was a music education major, planning to go back to Patterson and, you know, kind of do some of the same work. You know what I mean? Social work, uh, social justice work, you know.
So you weren't even thinking about a career in music at that time?
Not in the music business, not in the
Okay.
music industry. Yeah, just a teacher, just a music teacher. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Yeah.
It's crazy that y'all would be roommates and then have that type of success
Yeah, it is.
years later. I mean, has that
Yeah.
ever happened at Howard before, with like two guys just random roommates?
I'm sure, because Howard, man, produced some incredible cats, man, and like just the quality of caliber of young men at Howard. Even though we were young men, just all American young brothers doing what young brothers do, we still, a lot of us made out of metal. That any two people that could have landed together were going to be something in their own right, enough to where you probably could get combinations of 2 and 3 people that ended up being incredible. Like, wow, and then they were roommates. I'm sure, yeah, Howard. I can think of some myself up there with McCullough and them up there. Yeah, the
Because
list
I
is,
was talking to I had Tracy Lee on the show, man,
yeah,
and he was
Trey Lee,
telling me,
that's
like,
a homie.
he was saying like the Hitman went to Howard. He was talking about Marlon Wayans was there.
Yep.
Taraji was, like, he was just
Malcolm
going on
Jamal
this
Warner was
list.
there. I knew Malcolm Jamal Warner from Howard. And then when
Oh,
I
he was
finally
there
got a
too?
record deal, yeah, I was like, me and him had kind of like befriended each other just on some, just a real, you know, real stuff. And then later on, I become a part of Shai. And then on the airplane one time in first class, I walk in, I see him, and he knows about what I've done, but we never hadn't connected yet. And when he saw me, it was just like a reunion, but he was kind of proud of me because I'm in the industry, but he knows who I am. He knows I'm not no Hollywood guy. Like,
Yeah.
so it's love, you know what I mean? So that was one of the cool moments to me.
So what impact were you trying to have, Garfield? Because did the Garfield X thing, was that freshman year? Like, when did that?
Nah, that was like towards the end of sophomore year. Like, the way I was built, I played basketball. That was like I was a big athlete. I played ball. Like I said, I was going to end up trying to walk on Howard. But I was also in my high school, you know, one of the people who kind of put together the African American Studies movement. We didn't have that, and we kind of like lobbied and created it with the teachers' help to create the African American Studies, carve a piece of time out where we can have our stuff and our planning and our events. I was a part of that. So when I got to Howard, I chose Howard for that reason, other than the girls too, the prestige and legacy. I was raised by, you know, my dad and mom were educators and steeped in civil rights history. My mom is in Montgomery now. She's a voting delegate with the Democrats. She's a delegate member, voting delegate. So I was always put through, you know, I worked on Capitol Hill at Howard because of my mom and stuff like that, you know, stuff like that. But I was always looking at Black folks feeling some kind of way. I listened to records of Malcolm X in my room. I read tons of material on Blackness and, you know, all the different pioneers, all the way back to Paul Robeson. I looked at people who got overlooked, and I was formed already kind of like before I came to Howard. You know, when I got to Howard, I was just a combination of an athlete, a student. I was always good academically. I made A's and B's and stuff all the time, and A's. I had honors classes. So I had a bar to reach academically with my peeps, but I wanted to make a difference in the community somehow. So that drew me to Black Neophores and ultimately into the nation and stuff like that.
So at what point did y'all say, man, let's form something, a group or something? Are y'all entering into contests? Are y'all like in you know, like what's going on with singing? Because from the conversation I'm hearing, you know, you got Garfield who's like, yo, man, I come to Howard to, you know, do this. Darnell's clearly on the band path. At what point did y'all just start singing one day? Like, how does that even start?
Yeah, well, freshman year that happened, right, D? Like, he came in with these songs from his dad, you know, that his dad was writing songs for Riff, and Darnell knew about the songs before they were, you know, coming out. So Darnell be like, yeah, my dad got this song called Lorena, you know, and he'll sing it, Lorena, you know how I feel. you know, and we would be harmonizing that. We get the gumption to go outside across from us. It was a female dorm right across from us called Eaton Towers. And the backside of their places with the balcony would be facing our dorm. So we'd go in the alley and start singing up.
Oh,
and
really?
Come out to their little balconies and be watching us sing.
Just y'all two?
Well, eventually it grew into about 6 of us because everybody wanted to get down because we was getting a little pub from the ladies at first because they was like, oh, wait a minute, some dudes are singing to us. They can sing, you know. And then it grew into our other roommate freshman year was Antonio Parker, who was a hell of a saxophone player. So it was a musical. He was out there playing the sax. He would sometimes get out his window and play the sax. And the girls would just be swooning that to our room. So our room was kind of like some old musical.
But Garfield, was music, because I heard you talk about sports and you know, politics. Was singing something that you, like a hidden talent that you had? Or
Man, I wasn't thinking about singing. I like to sing all the time though, but I wasn't thinking about anything. Like I sung because I wanted to hear something on the radio and it wasn't on the radio. I wanted to hear so bad I can remember songs, so I just started singing the melody to myself and entertain myself. I was the only child, so I was able to entertain myself in the craziest ways. But a couple of times, you know, in high school, a couple of girls, you know, overheard me humming, and had the nerve to tell me that I had a cute voice or something. And then, you know what I'm saying?
It was a rap after that.
Like, wait a minute, let me find out I can sing. Hold up. Are you saying I can sing? Let me just let me get this. Are you saying you think I can sing? Okay.
So Darnell, I mean, was you like, when you first heard him sing, you was like, okay, this dude, he all right, he could sing a little bit.
Yeah, same way. He was raw, and it was like he was a jazz head, so he would emulate jazz instruments. But he would do it with his voice, and he would pull out jazz notes over R&B, and it had a real unique, dope sound. And so I knew he probably wouldn't believe in himself, so I just threw him on the spot, put him on the spot at rehearsal one day, like, give him a part.
You put me on the spot in so many situations, please. Oh my God.
So check this. So like, y'all kind of like the golden era at Howard, which I kind of coined it that because it was so much. There's so many people that are influential today that we already mentioned that came out of Howard, and you even talked about the protests. It's just so much going on politically in America at Howard and DC. It's just so many changes going on. But it's also like a golden era of like hip hop kind of too.
And
like
R&B.
Like
hip-hop, R&B, and
like what made y'all feel comfortable doing R&B and not like hip hop? Because you know that was a time where people was battling all the time, and you know, Wu-Tang, like people just, I arguably like people using big words, just rapping, going back and forth and battling and breakdancing. And, you know, I looked at y'all past video, I see the baggy clothes on one of them joints y'all had on. Like, what made y'all feel comfortable, you know, singing? You know what I'm saying?
In a couple of words, and D gonna laugh at me. What made people who end up being singers in R&B that still had a look like D'Angelo and Jaheim and just regular cats with they flow is because people like TJ Swan on Nobody Beats the Biz and stuff like that, who was dudes that was singing, was like, oh, you can sing and still be, you know what I'm saying? You could, oh, okay. That hit us. It might have even been subliminal or subconscious as we were coming up. But then when we heard Fairy Tale Lover and songs like that by Whistle and Whistle UTFO, we heard brother Full Force get busy, one big Full Force, big doped up Full Force, writing their butts off, crooning. You know, we saw male images that were contemporary through hip hop because hip hop created a proliferation. I mean, it created a division between this black culture and gave us a youth culture that split between, you know, like we grew up listening to Luther Vandross and all our parents' music, but it was a certain point when hip hop came out that you had a youth culture now that you didn't have to listen to their music. It could include that. But you had rap now you can go to and all that came with it. So that in of itself was a thing. And it wasn't just, but within that, you could express R&B through a youth culture format, which was largely a hip hop, like gilding, a coding of hip hop. So if we were still hip hop heads and our images who were singing came out of hip hop. Look, Force MDs, the Force MCs. You find me somebody that can out-sing my man from Force MDs singing Tears and Tender Love and that boy, you know what I'm saying? That's an MC though, you know what I mean? So even Old Dirty to an extent could sing, you know, he caught the singing thing like that. Like, and now you see most people today, like Lil Wayne, Drake, having success with this kind of sing-songy hip hop, you know, because it's always been there. the fusion of hip hop and R&B is expressed in different ways along.
That's like that New Jack Swing. So Darnell, you're an alpha, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, me too, by the way. Me too.
I heard.
Yeah. So at what point what point in your college career did you become an alpha?
Spring 90.
So this is your junior year?
Yep.
Now, did you come from a family that had alphas, or were you just naturally attracted to becoming an alpha?
Yeah, my dad's an alpha. Matter of fact, my dad and that music teacher I told you about, he's an alpha.
Greek life at Howard is different, man. And it definitely means something to come through beta chapter. Some people would say that's almost, alpha chapter, but to come through beta chapter and you doing the band, that's a lot. That's a lot back then, man.
That's his secret formula.
Yeah,
I don't know how the hell do you do that.
Yeah, man. So what was that like? I guess what was Greek life at before? What was Greek life like leading up to becoming an alpha?
I'll tell you, it was funny, man, because like I said, I saw my dad and some of the other brothers, but they were in the grad chapter in Patterson. So I was unfamiliar with the stepping and the whole college undergrad part of it. I just saw them, put together things in the community as adults for the kids to have access to creative outlets, to different kind of things. And when I got on campus at band camp, I saw a drummer named Eric Trapp. He played the tripes, and he had a shirt on, an alpha shirt that my father had on. So I asked him, I said, "Hey man, how are you in that?" And my dad is in that. and he told me, he's like, "You can pledge on campus." And I said, "For real?" Yeah. So he kind of pulled me under his wing and kind of had me meet some of the brothers. And at the time, man, they were like, just such powerful brothers, man. And, I wanted to be a part of that. And my dad already showed me the great work he did on the grad level with it. So it was a no-brainer. And then Beta and the Bloody Bee and the pyramids everywhere and the pharaohs. And it was just amazing. You know what I mean? And then, like I said, when I met them, they were just man for man, just great brothers, So, and then when I became a bro, my online brother, Darius, Gordine, shout out, he's a super alpha, so he jumped right into service. He was the guy on our line that he loved service. So every other day, our line was doing a service project or stepping. And, we had a lot of parts on the line that just kind of naturally took to certain aspects of frat life. So collectively, we stayed moving and progressing. So
what was it like to come out on the yard after putting in all that work? What was the probate show like?
Oh, it was dope, man. It was dope. You feel that feeling of accomplishment, and then you can be a brother with the brothers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, just it's like school days or any.
How accurate is school days in terms of like what you went through back then?
Well, you can't put Bloody Beta pledge process on camera. But I mean, some of it was pretty on point. Like G spoke to earlier, the relationship between the people in the community with the people on campus, you know what I mean? And just the whole consciousness of the students, pushing forward, you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, it was pretty on point, give or take.
What about like in school days, how they had like dark and light? Was that a thing?
Colorism.
Yeah, the colorism.
I remember much when we were at Howard.
Because Howard was already like a part of the talented 10th, and it kind of like brown or light skin. You was at Howard, so that was like the right. Capstone to the pyramid, the Mecca or whatever. So you kind of like, it was like you was in the same octave of that note than everybody else. But
so Garfield, I mean, you went through you did a lot of stuff too while you were at Howard. Before we get to music, was Greek life, was that something that you was just not interested in?
No, it wasn't really so much that. Like my consciousness back then was definitely more like on some, pro-black, Black Panther, militant type of vibe, activism. I wouldn't even say militaristic, but more activism.
Tell me about some of the activism that you did.
But at the same time, my dad was a Q.
Oh, really?
I was going to Players. I really was going to Players Q at Howard because my dad, you know,
You shaking your head, Darnell.
I had some friends that was interested. We was starting the study process on our own. So if we had to go on the ground, we would know some stuff already. And right at that very moment, the Qs got kicked off the yard like forever. Like right then, like it was over with for the Qs at Howard for like until maybe, I don't even know if they're on the yard yet, but they was going back then. So
yeah, they back.
That dashed my whole, you know, so I just forgot about Greek life in that way. And I ended up joining the Nation of Islam.
Tell me about that. I mean, the Nation of Islam. That's a big thing to do
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, you know, when it comes to religion, you know, they might follow the path of their parents. You know, a lot of people don't make a switch as a early adult. You know, tell me about why you made that happen, and then also some of the things in terms of activism that you did on campus.
Okay. Well, you know, just growing up, period, you know, like my grandma, and she was a strong Christian woman, just like a lot of our grandmas. We went to, you know, the one that went to church every Sunday, was a part of every day of the week, something to Bible study, to something. And when I spent summers with her, I was always at church with her. But, you know, she had like 20 foster kids at all time. We was at church. I never resonated with church. And, you know, they would send us the Sunday Bible study, whatever, bust us off to that. And be honest, I was only there for the girls or the cookies and punch when it was over with, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so when I finally got to older, higher ages, and my dad didn't force me to go to church and stuff like that. So I started reading a lot and developing my own kind of inklings and thoughts. And I was reading a lot of heavy hitters, like I mentioned earlier. And I was reading a lot of the Malcolm X speeches and listening to them, and reading a lot of the letter from the Birmingham jail, and reading a lot about Du Bois and Booker T, and just reading about Nat Turner and different people who stood up for blacks, and, you know, Frederick Douglass, all through the years, and developing an opinion on how I want to position myself as a dude. So when I got to Howard, I definitely was down with this group called Black Nia Force. You know, Nia meant purpose in Swahili. Force was freedom organization for racial and cultural enlightenment. And force in math and physics, force equals mass times acceleration, F equals MA. We could be a force to accelerate the masses. Like all of that fit. I like the math of it. So I messed with that. Right next to us, if you wanted a more straight ahead feel, you had Steve Coakley, who was all about their weapons and taking up arms and making it happen. You know, these are all like right around each other.
So these are students.
These are students, yeah. And Steve Coakley would come himself. And you had a Nubian Islamic Hebrew nation where you had people that were from the community that would come do meetings. You had Brother Alim Muhammad, who would come from Muhammad's Mosque before and come set up Power Study Group, he called it. And we again like taught some of the lessons from the actual facts from the student enrollment of the nation.
How old are you at this point?
I'm 17. Boom, fresh.
Oh wow.
I came to Howard at 17. And so these are already like part of my influences and stuff. Like when I was in 11th grade in Boston, me and my crew, two other guys, bumped into this female crew, 3 of them at the gas station. One of them happened to be Ayanna Gregory, Dick Gregory's daughter. Found out that my birthday was the same birthday as Dick Gregory. She invited us over her crib. Since we wasn't all crazy and rowdy and so thirsty, we were actually respected of them, so she felt comfortable. And I got to just be immersed in Dick Gregory's home and see all the stuff that he was eating, and way before that stuff became popular. And I was like, yo, I kind of dig this style, you know? So when I got to Howard, I was kind of, more, I had stopped eating pork and beef. Well, I ate pork for a little while when I first got there, because me and D was eating some scrapple that first year trying to find something to cook. It was hard, pork chop. But then right after that, I just stopped all that pork, man, and, just got clean on that level. And I looked at Islam as always something that was a little more, for me, at that point in my development, it was a more, I don't know, I just resonated more with that as a guidance system than I did with Christianity. I can't really, it was more direct. It spoke to me in certain ways. And I respected people who were part of the Islamic movement that had been heroes of mine growing up, even outside of, Malcolm and stuff like that, different people. And so once on campus, after Black Nia Force, after we took over the A building and did those kinds of things at Howard, because Lee Atwater was a KKK member and he was trying to be a board of trustees.
What made you guys take over the A building? The
board of trustees.
For folks that might be at Howard and they might see this, because I always heard about that. I seen pictures, but I never really understood what it was about.
The climate of students on Howard's campus was very, 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 very political. Like, we were conscious about all things political, how it affected our trajectories as Black people about to hit the world, stage. And we were really critical. So the board of trustees had a nerve to try to place a guy named Lee Atwater, who was a known KKK member, on our board of trustees at our legacy-rich historic institution. And it was just for fund matching purposes, I'm sure, because he represented a block of money. And so the way Howard got paid, I'm sure, I think personal money from our board of trustees plus will be matched with the government's funds, like our amount to dictate how much. So I think he made it more attractive to investors or whatever the case may be. We wasn't having no KKK members. And so usually students would be apathetic on that. They might not like it. There might be some rumblings, but, you know, politics was looked at as adult stuff. But for us, it wasn't. We were like, no, we're going to directly impact this. We built for this. And we really studied the blueprints, went behind the School of Architecture. And, you know, about 12 of us from Near Force sat there with the blueprints of the A building and mapped out where we were going to rope everything off. We left the federal portion, which was the mail room, off because we knew there could be justification to bring in the federal forces, make sure they had access to that. We roped off all the windows with holes, and we had links into the community to feed us during the times. We had people on the roof watching out for us. It was a big thing until we got tear gassed out. We got our demands met. He wasn't on the board. He died shortly thereafter too, as a matter of fact. But yeah, they tear gassed us out of there. Jesse Jackson at the time kind of was the hero because he came in after the fact, you know, made sure they didn't bomb us no more, no tear gas. But Raz and April Silver, you know, there's a book on it now that just got written actually about the protest.
How did Shai form? You know, what was the genesis of Shai?
Tell him about Beta D.
Yeah, well, one of the members, Carl Martin, and actually Mark Gay too, they're alphas as well. Carl and I were online together in spring '90. And actually he was known a little more as a songwriter at the time, you know, among the brothers. You know, I was a trumpet player, but I wasn't known as a singer. And then one of our yard displays when we were online, I think it was like a Valentine's Day thing or whatever, that we had to do as a line. Carl was supposed to sing "You Are So Beautiful." And I think he had a baseball game or something, so he was gone. So bros were like, who else could do it? Darnell, you're a music dude, you sing it. Like that, right? I sang it, and I guess bros and people on campus felt like I had a decent little voice, so that, you know, they made a little buzz about it, like, you know, D sounded good. And so when Carl came back, you know, we spoke about it. He's like, I heard you sing, and yeah. So when we got offline, fast forward, you know, we kind of got in the studio together as like a kind of writer-producer team, just writing songs to try to sell. And at the time, Mark was my housemate. So I would come back from doing a little sessions with Carl, and I would play the tape to Mark, and he, oh man, let me come to the studio with y'all next time. So, you know, before we went to the studio again, we just went to Fine Arts to kind of work some songs out. That started becoming our routine. We still wasn't trying to be a group yet. We were just songwriters going to Fine Arts, working our songs out before we went to the studio and spent all those hundreds of dollars. So we would do that. And then, you know, Garfield and I, like I said, we were roommates freshman year, but this was like junior, senior year. So we were doing our respective thing on campus. And then one night we kind of hooked back up. I was leaving practice. I saw him on the yard. Like, oh man, you know, I think he was out of school at the time. He was trying to get back in school.
So you was out of Howard at the time?
Man, yeah, I still had housing, but they dropped my classes because my dad claimed me on his income tax, even though I had just got married back then.
Well, you got married while you was at
in college, yeah.
Oh man, we might need like three shows, man.
It was crazy, man. But I was just kind of like caught out there. But I still had housing though. I still could live somewhere.
That's crazy.
It wouldn't let me go to school. In my last semester, I made a 4.0 for the first time in my college life, trying to get a trustee scholarship. I got a 4.0 and went to them, and they ain't show me no love. So it's just like, what Shai happened. So yeah. Well, go ahead. Do you finish the story?
Oh yeah. So anyway, I kind of reconnected with G. Then he started coming to the rehearsal, like the little rehearsal with me and Mark and Carl. And then, you know, we would leave rehearsal, we walking home, and he like, man, I like that song y'all do. And he would sing it back to me. Like, I like that other song y'all do too. He would sing it back to me. So I listened to him like, he's raw, but he has a little something happening, you know. So one of the next rehearsals, I just put him on the spot. We were doing some arranging some harmonies for a song. I said, man, hey, give him a part, man. He can sing. He looked at me like, you know, but man, and he did his part, and then he dropped and did that bass. He did that bass,
Oh
and all of
man.
us was like, uh-oh, match made in heaven. So we just knew we had something, man. We were a good songwriting team, and we performed the songs well too. We arranged the harmonies well. We just kind of figured we had something, and then they had a talent show they did at Howard, which you know how that is. That's already all your friends, and then they ready to boo you and
Ready to
tease you.
boo, man. When I heard they booed Maxwell, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know how the hell we survived that without getting booed. Because they booed everybody that day. That was dope. Eric Roberson, who was incredible to me, got booed. Like Tracy Lee got booed. Like, yo, I was like, yo, they gonna boo us, man. They booed Eric Roberson. We get up there and we made it, and then they called us back in there. We sang If I Ever Be.
So what at this song, I mean at this point, which song are y'all singing? Is it If I Ever Fall in Love? Is that the one?
Well, the one we sung to the Crampton that night was If I Ever. Well, it was a combination of If I Ever, Baby, I'm Yours, and Comforter is what I remember us always singing over and over, those three in a row. Like,
and this is before y'all got put on.
Yeah, they were all like a cappella done to like the piano, more or less.
That's
they were
crazy.
way soulful as hell.
What are those practices like when you just doing something just for the potential to get put on, or just because you believe in the project before money and contract? Like, what is that like? What's the accountability like in the group?
Well, it was like
they played
like I was saying, yeah, it was a songwriter type of thing. So we got a lot of excitement from seeing a song just from lyric form and then come together.
Yeah.
You know, every week or every day we got to practice. We started with just a couple of lyrics and put the chords to it and put the arrangements to it. And then to come out with a song, that was exciting to us. And then, you know, letting people on campus hear it, and we were getting positive feedback. And then ultimately they had a, what do you call that thing? Home jams. They had a home jam segment at PGC, WPGC.
So I read that y'all was the ones that was calling PGC to play the joint.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and students on campus.
Like y'all was pretending to be people.
We was doing
you know
all
what I'm
that.
saying?
We had everybody. We just was like we were like 30 people apiece, but it was also about 30 other people being 30 people apiece with us and stuff. So it was like they showed us that love. But then the song took off organically too, even though we were like the Booster Rockets in that way. The song really took a life of its own, and like to this day, it's got like 70 million views on that Vivo alone. Even though it's like crazy.
Yeah, I looked on Spotify because I've been playing it all weekend, and I want to say the acapella got like 19 million. The joint, the remix got like 18 million. Like it's a necessary song.
On YouTube, the Vivo version of it, Vivo, I think it is.
Yeah.
Is that it, Vivo?
Yeah.
Yeah, it got like, that's the one with 70 million right there. I'm like, dang, that's crazy.
So at what point, I mean, how do y'all get signed? Like, is it just y'all four coming and practicing? Do y'all have a manager? How does that come? How do you take that art into the business world?
It was so weird how it happened. But go ahead, D. You got a better recollection of it, man. Because me, I'm.
Yeah, well, actually, I don't remember if it was. Yeah, I think it was before we got it on the radio. Carl's brother Derek, he started doing some management stuff with us. He actually got us our music in front of Teddy Riley for a second. We were down there. Yeah, we were down there.
The Future.
Yeah, down in Future in Virginia doing some work with Teddy. He was thinking about signing us. But he had Blackstreet at the time too. It was kind of like similar kind of vibe. Yeah. So we just kept pushing along ourselves, man. We went down to New York to the Ave of the Americas, and one label after another, we sang If I Ever, Comforter, Baby I'm Yours, and the A&Rs couldn't see it. They were like, I don't know if it'll work on radio.
Did y'all ever want to give up? Because right at this point, you upperclassmen, you got to be thinking about career and all of that.
Man, it was weird. Me and D State of Mind, it was like we was in between time or something, like in that time period. It was like we had no idea what the hell our future held, but it wasn't like it bothered us, even though we knew it should have. Like the thing that probably bothered us most was knowing that we should be bothered by the fact that we don't know what the hell we about to do. But we wasn't, because we kind of felt innately, like some weird way, like we knew we was getting ready to get signed to a deal. Like we just knew we didn't have no reason to feel that confident, knowing now what we know about the industry. No matter how dope something sounds, it's a chock full of stories about dope songs or even dope athletes who should have made it who never did for whatever reason. But in our naivety, we just was comfortable sitting in it, knowing that, nah, man, we about to blow up. I don't know what y'all talking about. Whatever. Like we was taking life that as it came like that too. Like we weren't even tripping off like stuff that we should have been distressing over, because we really just was like, we about to get signed in a little while. Whatever this is, whatever.
Man,
the world was falling apart, but we wasn't caring. And then we got signed. And
so what year is it? What year is it that y'all get signed?
92, October.
So you get signed in 92 in October.
My birthday.
You go from being at Howard, less than a year later, you on Arsenio Hall.
Yo, man, ain't that crazy?
What is it? I mean, what is that like for y'all to like, I don't know, like talk about the time in between, like I guess coming up with the song and being on like Arsenio, like what's the day in the life of what y'all going through? Cause that's like fate almost for y'all to have this song and to still stay together. Cause Garfield, you live in a totally different life. You said you got married, you was militant.
Well, by then I had gotten divorced that quick. You know what I mean? My first wife, I was like, it was like we could have really got an annulment because we only lasted for maybe like
that's
less
crazy.
than a year. It was less than a year. It was like 8 months or something like that. But I was married. But we got a divorce well, actually, I didn't get a divorce until like we was in the career. Man, I got a divorce like this. Look, I was in LA, right? And we finally got a chance to fly to Disney World in Orlando, the Epcot Center, and do All That, the show called All That. And Keenan and Kel and all them was on there. All that. So we in the dressing room and stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? Tripping out, laughing, having fun. We get a knock on the door. I answer the door. This dude with this big 10-gallon hat is like, with a smile, he's like, Garfield, right? And I'm thinking it's like some kind of like, talent coordinator dude from the All That. And I was like, yeah. You know, I was all happy. This dude gives me divorce papers, like, you've been served. I was like, huh? The girl lived in Miami at the time, in Hollywood, Florida at the time. So they plotted and they knew I was coming in. They got me when I got there. I got there. They got when they served me or whatever. It was ridiculous. But that's how I got
man.
But it was crazy. Cool though, man.
So what was it like to kind of blow up that fast? And the thing is, you be blowing up off of a classic song. It's not like a song that's like popular,
right?
For that year. Like this is a song that's still gets played today.
It became a classic.
How did that feel to see all that hard work come to light, like right before your eyes?
It was like I always say it's like being in the bonus round of a video game. Like, like them old Mario Brothers video games, you get in a bonus little part of it and you can get all the chips in little circles and hit them all. It's like 1,000 of them up there. And you can jump and get them all. And then you got to come back down to the regular part of the game and keep moving.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And up here, this is Shai. The experience of Shai is we up here with all the chips, like you can just run into them. You ain't got to jump. They all right there for you. It's just fun. But that ain't going to be forever. You know what I'm saying?
Man, what about for you, Darnell? I mean, for you to come from a music background and your dad's a songwriter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that has to, make him feel like great for his son to be a part of a group that blows up like this.
Yeah. From what we discussed, yeah, he did. He felt good about it, And for me, it was cool, man. I was with my boys, my roommate Garfield and my line brothers, and we were creating music and we were meeting, artists that we loved and new artists that loved us and fans that support us. Yeah, it was just, it was wonderful, man.
Well, how did it feel to go to concerts, man, and everybody know the words to y'all song?
That was incredible.
To be able to just hold the mic to the fans and they just finishing up the sentences. What did that feel like?
It's dope, but the craziest place where it really showed showed the most and had the
Japan.
biggest power was Japan. We go there and they can't even speak to us regularly in English. But when it came to those songs, they enunciated and knew every word of songs that were not even released as singles or anything close to it. They knew every word to all. It was just like it was like an honor to see them just belting out a If I Ever or Comforter, and you know they can't even speak English. It's like, dang, man.
Dang.
It's crazy.
What about what was it, groupies? I heard that.
Oh yeah.
I heard that R&B groups had groupies. I don't know if that's true.
No, everybody got groupies. It was the same groupies for everybody. So, you know, like remember that song by BBD? Thought it was me.
Yeah.
You can't ever think it was you, man. That's humbling because it'll be the next dude and the next dude, you know.
Now, when I had Tracy Lee on the show, he told me that he sold his publishing for $1.
Damn.
Wow.
You know, sold his publishing for $1. Who was helping y'all navigate, you know, the legal side, I mean the business side of all of this? And were you guys ever in danger of making a bad business decision early on?
D, go ahead.
In danger of making a bad decision?
Or did you make a bad decision early on? A bad business move early on?
Yeah, it's kind of relative. I mean, you know, it's you know, your deal is based on your situation. You know what I mean? For us, we had a single already on, like they call it P1, the kind of radio station that PGC is a major station.
Yeah.
So we had a single already moving on P1 radio with no label. You know what I mean? It's kind of the equivalent to now having a video with 3 million views on social media before you get signed, right?
Okay.
So the leverage you have when you don't even have to sign, but the leverage that you have if you do want to sit with some labels is a lot greater than just bringing in your demo.
So y'all
that's kind of
y'all had leverage.
Yeah, but we didn't have the right lawyer to take advantage of that situation.
Not at that moment. Like we finally got somebody. We got Shaquem from the Flavor Unit when we renegotiated, and he was more of a shark. We went after label heads and had them shaking and scared and got a cool deal. But we could have started with that energy and probably been better off.
Because when I talked to Mark yesterday, he was like the label that y'all signed with, like their lawyer kind of looked out for y'all, and didn't really didn't have to.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually true. Because we got a pretty cool deal for a rookie deal, to be honest with you. And, you know, yeah, that's pretty true, man. We could have been way worse off because other people were way worse off. You know what I mean? But we still could have probably scraped and fought a little bit, too. If we had the right artillery coming in, knowing our worth, we could have actually came in with a little bit more foot downness to our get down and got a little bit more from that. But, I mean, you know, you learn the ropes in the industry. Matter of fact, Tracy D is in my dissertation, man. I looked at how Black males navigate spaces of inequitable power distribution. I looked at classrooms and I looked at the record industry. And Tracy D was one of the brothers who I interviewed from the record industry navigating that and his narrative.
Yeah, because he was telling me that's kind of what made him decide to become a lawyer.
Yeah. You know? He had Biggie on his album and they wouldn't let him promote the fact that Biggie was on his album. And that hurt him because, I mean, come on, man. You got a dope song with Biggie and you can't let people know it's out? Like, come on. What the hell?
Right. That's crazy. And the dude managing Biggie went to Howard. The dude making the beats for Biggie went to Howard. You know how when we graduate come out of Howard, we feel like, yo, we went to Howard, so it's all. But he was just saying, like, they was like, yeah, all right, you can get him on there, but you can't promote it. You can't put his name on it. You can just, you know, drop it out, you know. That's crazy.
And you really don't know how high up that go because, you know, your boy, what's his name, from Eris to Clive was, you know, with Puff.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, a lot of those moves, those shrewd moves in that way probably came down to a bottom line and cross-pollination of money when somebody's going to get game, like mutual interest convergence.
Yeah.
You know, like what we thought we was getting with Brown versus Board of Education. If you go back a couple of days, that was signed on May 17th, Darnell's birthday. That was an interest convergence situation, you know, and they usually fizzle out for the party that doesn't have the same kind of leverage. So the same thing with this, you know, that it looked good, but Tracy wasn't gonna bring to the table what the labels thought Biggie was gonna bring to his table. So they was like, no. Now that probably happened from Clive. Just speculation. I have no facts, but that was probably from the top.
At what point do you guys kind of realize, like, Well, even before I get to that question, I mean, one of the things that I saw is that you know, when you guys won that Image Award, I want to say you guys beat like Silk,
Boys the Man, I think.
you guys beat Diggable Planets, you beat SWV.
Oh wow!
Like when you look back and you think we was just in our dorms, you know what I'm saying? Not even think about none of this, and we beating our groups that's been together, you know, been trained singers, the whole nine.
Word.
What is it like to beat a group like that, especially knowing they place in history now? Like these groups got hard bangers body. Too. You know what I'm saying?
They hard body. And we grew up with these cats too. Like on the road, our first 2 concert stints was SWV was right there with us with the Budweiser Superfest. Like us, SWV, H-Town, Silk, and Jade, we grew up together, with, like literally in the industry. And so like, they star definitely rose to shine. We were growing parallel to each other and stuff like that. But it was just, it's crazy when you term it like that, when you put in those terms, man. It's a surreal feeling. It really was.
Was that validation for y'all, or I mean, did you have to pinch yourself, or you was just like?
I was mad because they didn't have 4 trophies to give the group.
Okay.
That's at that moment, like I was like, we have to win this. We went to Howard, man. If the NAACP can't see that we college dudes from Howard doing this, you know, that's me and my mind political. That's probably didn't mean nothing. I don't know how we won the award. We didn't definitely do anything behind the scenes politically to shift, you know. We didn't have any connections like that. They straight up wanted us to have that award. But in saying that, they only had 1 trophy, man. And I was so happy we won. The group was like, "Gee, you can have this one, man." They gave me the trophy, man.
What about what was it like going back to Howard for the first time?
Ooh, that feeling was ridiculous. Darnell and me, we like I remember what I had on. That's how dope of a feeling that was. Like.
It never gets old going back to Howard. Like that feeling as soon as you cross like Florida Avenue, it's like something happens to your body, man. You just be like, like, you know what I'm saying?
Especially during that time period that wasn't so far removed from the era that we attended. It was still the 90s. So it was like, you know, it was still a shot. It was still Howard like how we remembered it, except now our status was different. It was like crazy.
What was that like though? I mean, that gotta be a shot to the ego. Like that's like you live in every person's, not every person's, but you live in, like, that's just an experience that very few people will ever get to experience, man. Like coming back to Howard and being a center of attention and not just like for a good reason. You know what I'm saying? Like the teachers want to hear your song. The president want to hear your song. Incoming student, like everybody wants to hear this joint.
It was the love that we were getting too coming back. Like everybody who spotted us on campus, like, because we came back to do this. As soon as we got signed, our first professional show was it was like a show that featured, it was like Mary J. Blige when she had What's the 411 with Grand Poobah on there.
Man, Mary J. Blige.
Eddie Riley, who was
Rex in Effect.
But all I want to do is boom, 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 shake your mom. And then the dudes that could sing, what's the singing dudes? The 2 dudes that
Low
could
Key.
Sing. Low Key, yeah. Low Key was on there. And and it was like, man, the show, it was a ghetto show, like the black show, the dope show at Howard. Then there was this other show in town set up by a radio station that was supposed to be this show that we were supposed to be doing the next day or something like that. Man, the radio station who wanted to yank our spins because we was about to perform at this other show. We just got into professional ranks. We thinking now we pros. Let's set up the money. Let's go get that bag. Okay, let's set up a show. And we didn't know the politics behind, like, nah, if you get ready to do a show in the city with this other entity, there's got to be a certain amount of time between and distance from the venue that you even perform in.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't know none about that. We just was like, we're going to do this one, we're going to do that. We're trying to get all the money. Like, you know, and it's Howard. Y'all can't be mad at us for going to Howard to perform. And so because of our naivety, they was mad at us, but they kind of understood that we didn't know no better, and it was Howard. So they couldn't really be mad at us, but they was kind of mad at us.
The one video.
Yours?
At Howard, yeah, Baby.
I'm Yours. And then the remix too. And then
I did that at Howard. I thought that was the coolest thing because it influenced, to me, so many people to come to Howard. And
that's why we did it, man.
Y'all had the women that y'all had were all like Howard women. You know what I'm saying?
The way that happened, bro. usually before videos, we get greeted with all of these different Z cards of different models, and we can pick out leading ladies from that, and then the modeling agency will send those over to the video. We were like, man, we come from Howard, and we know those are some of the most beautiful women in the world, and they regular women. So let's keep them Z cards. Let's get to Howard 2 days before the video shoot, and let's just ask young ladies who we think are beautiful that might want to be down to do it, because we're not gonna have a shortage of beauty and everything else. You know, quality women were there, so it'll be dope to highlight.
What was the process when y'all was like, man, let's, like, who came up with the idea? I got the perfect place to shoot this video. Let's go back to the Mecca. Like,
we all came from Howard, so we always like, yo, let's go back to Howard. But the video director, I think, was the main dude, wasn't it? Didn't he?
Yep.
What's his name? Mfume?
Man, he gone.
It wasn't Mfume or nothing like that. Was it Michael Mfume?
No. I forgot my man's name.
He was the dopest video director.
Yeah, he was dope too. He was real dope. That was our partner too.
Yeah, he was just, I wish that brother number the best, because he looked out for us on other levels too.
Yeah.
That was his idea, and of course it was a no-brainer, and we knew at that moment it was a marketing tool. It was a way for us to give back, because we knew it was going to kind of be a PR kind of piece.
That's crazy, man. You go from plotting on the A building to shooting the R&B video at the A building. Yo, that's nuts, man. You go from being in the band and running up and down the Green Stadium to now you doing like a damn love scene at Green, man. You came full circle, man. Was it a lot of people hitting y'all up for like favors and features and listen to my demo tape, you know, when y'all came back to Howard?
Oh, Howard people.
Yeah.
A couple.
A few.
Yeah. But on the streets, like after shows, and when we come to the hotel lobby, it'll usually be a few cats that would be like, yo, can we get your ear for a second, man? We want to let you hear, you know. That's how we met 112, actually, in Atlanta, before they were signed or whatever. This group named 112 just wanted us to hear them sing. We heard them, and they sung "If I Ever" and just killed it, man.
Wow, they got a versus tonight versus Jagged Edge.
Oh, and that's who the other people that came and sung. Jagged Edge came and sung some stuff for us and stuff like that. Killed it.
Nice,
so we knew about them before they had a deal and everything. We knew they was gonna be beasts coming out there.
So y'all moved to LA, right?
Yeah, we got signed in LA's. MCA was in New York and LA, and we went to LA's wing of it.
So y'all moved to LA, and this is when I guess it kind of becomes a business, you know. You know, what was that like? You know, because you dropped this mega like smash hit, and I know that there's probably forces, whether it be management or pressure coming from yourselves. Like, what is that like to, you know, are they like, yo, what's up? We need another one. You know what I'm saying?
Well, first of all, the first one, instead of living with that single, If I Ever, and selling it for $9.99 for a single, they wanted us to quickly make an album so they could sell an album for $20 with that single on it and maximize the sales and the interest. So we had 2 weeks to make that first album, If I Ever Fall in Love album. That was a 2-week project. 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
We made that album in 2 weeks.
When they came to y'all, were they like, hey, we want to swap out the musicians y'all got, or like we
didn't have no musicians yet. Them songs was acapella songs. Yeah, them songs was all acapella, and all we had was If I Ever, and we did a music version because they gave us some demo money to go back and record a music version. So that's when, you know, the music version got born. But when we got there, they was trying to put us with other producers to begin with, like the dude who did the Kissing Game for High Five. They tried to get him to produce Baby I'm Yours. And it was coming out so soft and airy and poppy. And we kind of rebelled and pushed back. So they was like, look, we don't got lot of time left. Look, okay, y'all gonna be like that. We'll go make us something and be done in this amount of time so we can, you know, and that's what gave us the license to kind of do our own stuff. Thank God, you know, that allowed us to kind of be our own self-contained unit going forward.
But that first album has some joints on it though. I mean, other than If I Ever Fall in Love, you still have Comforter. I mean, Baby I'm Yours. I mean, these are still joints that did really well on the charts.
And then personal favorites, people love Together Forever and Sexual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, those are people, you know, songs that they just didn't put out. They weren't gonna put Comforter out, to be honest with you, man. That was an internal battle between us and the label that even allowed Comforter to come out, because they were just gonna put If I Ever out and then go right to Baby I'm Yours. But we were struggling with the label because they didn't want to let us do black radio ever. They wanted to keep us at the pop radio stations because that was more mass appeal and more record sold. And the narrative is that black folks don't buy music; they don't buy records. So let's advertise towards the audience that buys, and all that. We was like, oh, nah, we come from Howard, man. We can't just go out bad like that, bro. Our people need to see. Once we start understanding that it was being held against us by black radio, that we weren't coming in, they didn't look at it like these little young kids, the labels got them going everywhere like it really was.
Yeah.
They was blaming us. And once we realized they was blaming us, they took it to us personally. We was like, oh shit, we gotta change this.
Yeah, Mark had told me about some an instance where y'all had was to perform for some black journalists or whatever.
Oh, they snatched the key to the city back from us.
Yeah.
From Atlanta. We had just got the key to the city in Atlanta in Vander Holyfield. They gave us the key to the city. We was with Vander Holyfield. And then the next day, because we didn't do this show, because we had this other obligation, we picked. And the older ladies, the crew of the older ladies that be in the industry that got pulled, you don't never see their faces, but some grandmas, they got a lot of power. They could make a couple of phone. That's who got us, man. They was poop, 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 poop. 2 hours later, we ain't have no key to the city, bro.
Damn.
They stopped playing our stuff on radio for a while after that too in Atlanta. Man.
So is it safe to say this is certain people that you kind of gotta say yes to?
Well, or else suffer those kind of consequences. You don't got to do nothing but be black and die, man. But it's a cost-benefit analysis, and based on what your integrity line is, your moral compass is, and what you're willing to take, and how much you can take and still be able to look at your mirror as being the same person, how you encode or decode that. All that's subjective stuff. Like whatever that is, that'll determine whether or not you have the attitude of some people you got to deal with in that way or not.
Are white folks the ones that's making these decisions?
What decisions are you specifically when you say decisions?
For like how y'all music is put out, for y'all image,
think about who writes the check controls the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an inequitable dynamic when you come to a label. You're not bringing a contract and they're bringing a contract and y'all trying to pick between which contract is the better. Nah, you come and sitting your booty down and they got a contract all ready for you.
Were you all surprised to see that? Like, man, we thought
no. But I'm just trying to set up the power dynamic to answer the other question you got. Like, it's skewed in terms of power. So when you get on a label, you an artist, but you are creating art from your viewpoint, but you're creating a product from their viewpoint. And there's not much different from the product and the producer from their point of view. All of that is proprietary, owned by them. We, by God, own our talent in our own mind. And we produce what our God-given talent uniquely positions us to do. But as soon as it gets spit out and born into the world, it's not art per se no more. It's product. And as a company or a corporation, there's quality control to the product. There's marketing to a product based on quantified understandings of what the bottom line how they could be impacted by this product. Quantification starts to lead to round offness, where we got to round you off to the nearest model that resembles a certain yield. So your free cultural thing that you got going in your mind about how you want to represent yourself, and none of that means nothing unless it happens to be correlative to their viewpoint of what sells. Yeah.
So you guys dropped Right Back At You. That's the next album, right?
That was a little remix album, yeah. Yep.
And then you have Blackface and then Destiny. So at what point do things kind of take a turn in terms of, the group? I know Carl was the he wrote a lot of joints for you guys. At what point does a strain come in the group?
Yeah, well, go ahead, D. You better talk about this than me.
I mean, right after the Blackface album, I think, Carl wanted to pursue his writing and production, more full time. So he left after that second album, that Blackface album. And I guess you can say even before that, it kind of started to become like two different camps. Mm-hmm. He was veered towards that direction on the Blackface album. So, me, Garfield, and Mark were kind of a production writing crew at that time. And then Carl was doing this thing. And so the second album already started to reflect kind of like, that not infighting per se, but just, it wasn't the same. Yeah. It was, we were starting to go in different directions a little bit even then. And then the label, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the label got bought out by Seagram's or somebody.
Yeah, MCA.
MCA. Yeah, they kind of fired a lot of people that worked our first project. So it was just kind of like
Yeah,
The
Mark
recipe.
said that too. He said they let everybody go, like all the black people,
Yeah.
basically.
And it turned over like 2 or 3 times during our
Yeah,
project.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Jesus.
so it was a bad recipe for just, the thing to take the turn it did, So we put out the Destiny album. We did one more Shy album, like with a major label, if you will. Well, no, they were independent label, but they had some decent distribution. But yeah, it was, hip hop music was going in a different direction on radio. All that kind of came together, man, and just, yeah, from the first album and the success, it went a different direction.
Is it is it hard to stay friendly when business is involved and you skyrocket so early, with a hit like that? Because obviously, I'm sure that now each of you probably got people in your ear. Hey, you should do this. You should do this. You should come write this, or you should endorse this. Is it hard to kind of be about the team when there's so much noise coming from the outside?
I mean, speaking for myself, I was always just about the team. I could have, and Darnell could have been gone so many times. I'm sure so many people was pulling the D to do stuff with how his voice was and do all that stuff. And then me, I remember getting approached by people to do modeling and all kind of other stuff. But I really didn't really want to do all that other stuff. Like I wasn't, because I never aspired to be a singer in the first place, and it really wasn't my dream since I was a kid to be in the music industry or nothing like that. Like when I was in it, I was never really opportunistic, like trying to go to the net, I was fine by being in it, experiencing it, and whatever it was going to give me was going to, but I was already who I was. So I didn't try to get that extra juice out of being, so as it was, dying out or whatever, I was kind of cool with that too. Like, in terms of like accepting how it looked and understanding it and stuff like that. Cause I was already who I was before that, but it was nice, but we still did our show and all that. So it was, it was just a frame of mind thing. It hits everybody differently. And in terms of like being friends, like me and D been friends since we were 17. And both of us, I can say now, since his birthday just happened, now 50 years old.
Oh man, hey, happy birthday, bro.
And that's like 33 years, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
man,
what
is, I mean, just pause right there for us. I mean, y'all was roommates, man.
Yo,
y'all was roommates in a dorm
years.
that don't even, y'all roommates in a dorm that don't even exist no
Feel
more,
me?
man.
And every year of our lives from pre-adult has been connected, like livelihood, deep tissue.
And y'all very different, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We are, but we the same and different. Yeah, we contrast. We come, what do you call it? Complementary opposites. Like,
yeah, man. I mean, coming up with, when you guys were like, I guess being compared to Boyz II Men and Jodeci, was there ever any like rivalries that y'all had with those guys? Like even friendly rivalries?
I mean, we was right in between them. Like, we had Boyz II Men were like that quartet is the most polished. Them and like New Edition, they kind of like got that, you know what I mean? Whew. And then Jodeci is the gutter, grimy with them voices, is crazy, but sexual, kind of like on the Silk style. Like and Shy is like, we came from college, so we got the college boy part of us that you can round off to the Boyz II Men aspect. But we did our own music and our own harmonies, and we had our own swag, and it wasn't always so polished like that. It was kind of raw, like, and sexual. We had a song called Sexual, crying out loud. Like, you can round part of us off to that Jodeci side of things too. It's kind of like we straddled the line, but not being too much of either. We had our own little in there in between set. So if people put us together and compared us, that was them. But with us and Boyz II Men, we knew them, and we was cool with them. Like us, like Sean. I mean, my twins. I have twins that are like 6'5", and at the time they were growing so fast. Sean had extra clothes at the end of the year because he would give a stylist like a lot of money, like 2 G's, and stylist would bring him back a whole year worth, clothes, so we don't have to go pick it out. And he would have too much for himself. He would be like, "Yo, G, man, your kids want these." You know what I'm saying? He'll give me clothes for my son. So like we was cool like that. And Jodeci, me and Darnell was always cool with JoJo and KC. Particularly like for me, like KC was always like a point of contact during them days when he was with Mary J. Blige. We was real cool with K. Like D even went over to the crib a couple of times.
When you guys got, I guess, dropped from the label, or when you guys had to transition from that label, what was that feeling like?
It was weird because it's kind of like I saw it coming. It was like I remember so Blackface was the second album, even though we had like a remix album between the first and Blackface. But Blackface was coming out, and the people who are distributing your project, with the MCA distribution arm is called Uni, and they distribute all the music, right? So it behooves the label to kind of like have a performance for the distribution company and live in front of them so they can know exactly how to market this group when they start marketing the different outlets and stuff. So we got the all the big trappings of Universal Music, Universal Theater, Universal Studios. They gave us the big chairs for the Egyptian hieroglyphic with the 6-foot chairs and stuff for us to sit on that were gold and bejeweled. And we had 6-foot tall models walking through the area with incense. And we did this big showcase, killed it for Blackface. They loved it. But still, for some reason, because I was in a meeting when we sat down with the main guy from the label, Al Teller, and our label, and they say, and our president was uncomfortable with the fact that we called it Blackface, our second album, because Blackface was political. Me being from Howard, I felt like Al Jolson and all them who made fun of black folks by putting us in blackface or putting blackface on to mock us. I wanted to flip that narrative and say inside of everybody's face is a black face. And then I wanted to write some empowering stuff about blackface. So we put a collage of our faces on the cover to symbolize the universality of the original person, the original man, and us. Anyway, what happened was the label, the label didn't want to use it or whatever like that. But I forgot my original point now. What was it, D?
Oh no, we're talking about what the feeling like getting dropped from the label.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, so coming through all of that, we get to Blackface, and they really kind of scared to use Blackface as the name of the album. Our president is, but surprisingly, Al Taylor at the table, because they let me sit on the power meeting, he was like, "Oh no, Blackface is cool." And I'm thinking like, "Man, he said that kind of quick." So then in real life, outside that meeting, I'm thinking he said it was cool, but So what ended up happening, bro? They put the album out before they released the single. Anybody who know anything know that nobody knows the album is coming out because the single in play. Usually singles are played like a month before album release. You get to hear the single, you start liking it, and you waiting for the album to drop on the heels of the juice of that single. They put an album out, and then they put it in the stores when it was music record stores. They didn't put coming soon, Shai album February the 17th, but they didn't do none of that kind of stuff. They just had the album shipped to the stores. Well, the single wasn't coming out till like a month and a half. So before the single could even come out, those record stores was shipping back all of those units back to the label. And it was like registering account-wise as like negative sales on our behalf, which gave them a justification to just drop the album damn near completely at a certain point. And it still went gold, even doing all that.
Oh, wow.
It still hit gold, even with that. Off the singles, Come With Me, and then I Don't Want to Be Alone Tonight, like the buzz of the remix we did with Jay-Z and all that kind of stuff. We was catching traction and people. But yeah, man, like that was
when y'all did the joint with Jay, did y'all actually work with him?
Yeah, we worked. Well, he wasn't in the studio with us, but Marley Marl flew out to us, and we did the session where we sung to that track he had, from Nobody Beats the Biz. Bun, dun, dun, doo, 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 doo.
Yeah.
Hip hop history.
Yeah.
That's what TJ Swan came in. But he sung on that track, and he was there to rock, to record us, and it was dope. It was a dope experience, right? And he told us, yeah, he gonna get this man Jigga, because at the time he didn't know who was gonna be on it yet. Like, which rapper you gonna? He was like, yo, I got my man Jigga that I'm gonna put on it. But at that time, Jay-Z was so new, he was no household name at all. He had just did a song that was on the radio with Foxy Brown with that "Ain't No Like the One I Got."
Yeah.
No one can, you better. That had just came out, and he was killing that. And so he was connected to Marley Marl, who was the head DJ at Hot 97. So it was in his interest to keep that song rocking that he produced. So that's how we got the love in New York. You know what I mean? But the MCA didn't do a video. The turnover of the label that we were just talking about, the Black Music Departments, that song was alive like during the Shaquille O'Neal. Us and Jay-Z had collabed on a song that we paid for. We paid $5,000 out of our own pocket to Marley Marl to get Jay-Z and Marley and that track done, played on Hot 97, and they didn't even want to do a video.
Man,
like they didn't,
dang, that would have been dope if y'all had got that. Man.
But we ran into situations like that a lot, and it was like a sabotage kind of feel, I think.
Do you think that like if you would have had like because I look at an artist like a a Jay-Z, man. You know, even when he came out, even now, man, he's not like it's like super outgoing, super aggressive, but he had somebody with him like Dame who was able to be that sounding board and always get them like the best deal possible, you know.
That's one thing about Carl. Like, we don't get along with Carl. I don't think it's a big secret. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I give him credit for, one, being a great writer, like lyricist, and two, he was one of them kind of dudes that was just, he would push himself into meetings or push himself into spaces and just create situations to make some kind of deal happen. Like, he was one of them kind of cats who just uncomfortably, like Dame Dash, would just make people uncomfortable until they gave him, you know, until they dealt with him. And me and D, we artists. We ain't with all the riffraff it take and the hoops to jump through and the posturing and all it take to get you to a serious state where we can, if it take that, we ain't. So as a result, me and him probably lost out on a lot of stuff after Carl that we probably could have got into, but the cost benefit of it, our souls would have been at stake. Like, I ain't jumping through that hoop to make that happen like that. Like, I don't know. Like, it'd be a good
Do you
look.
need somebody like that in your camp?
I think all crews need that guy though. That guy is valuable. Like Dennis Rodman on the Bulls. You needed, Jordan was Jordan. Pippen was gonna be Pitt. They probably could have won chips. But with Dennis Rodman, the utility dude who went in there and just did everything at a high level, and he could even score if he wanted him to. You know, he just knew his place. But on the teams before the Bulls, when he was in college, that boy could score.
Yeah.
But he just, Draymond Green, like, them kind of cats are just irreplaceable and invaluable, and they make it lopsided in your advantage when you have them on your team.
What caused the fallout with Carl?
Just timing, youth, immaturity, growing up, coming of age, you know, different goals, stuff like that, identity development, and just, you know, maybe coming up in different environment, you know, different things like that, like little small nuances. And at the end of the day, you know, a brother want to see what he can do on his own. Like, that happens, you know what I mean? And
do you think it would have been like when he wanted to do his own thing, did he come to the group, or was it like, how did y'all find out?
it was fuzzy. I think he did. But do you remember exactly how they went down? It was kind of like that time period seemed fuzzy to me because it was all weird. Like, he had another manager already. Like, his manager was Benny Medina. But we were a group together, and the group had a manager. You know what I mean? It was like it started getting real weird towards the end, and I just kind of checked out mentally. Like, but D probably had a better memory about that.
Yeah, that was pretty much how it went down, man. Like you said, he started veering more towards Carl Martin and his interest in the industry, and it just went in separate ways.
Would it have been a lot better maybe if he would have just came and said, "Hey, this is what I want to do"? You know, does that kind of make it okay, or does it have to be like all for one and one for all?
Oh no, like I'm about to do some solo stuff, like, musically, but it's with the blessing of Darnell and them, like, and they gonna be on it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I'm just doing something because fans kind of ask me around, like, you know, can you do a project? I want to hear G do something. How come you never did nothing? I'm only gonna do something. I ain't trying to. So, but it wasn't a matter of that. Like, everybody can get their shine. We could, like, Wu-Tang. All of them had solo deals. They were still Wu-Tang. That never. But I think this case was like he wanted to really, really be away from that nucleus and kind of do his own thing, like, that's part, you know what I mean, like that kind of thing. And, you know, everybody reserved the right to want to do that and stuff like that. I think personally we had another one in us though. Like, I think if we had stuck it out and did one more, and really, like, with the changeover where the industry was headed, the internet started becoming more of a factor right around that time. It was kind of new ground coming in. You could kind of control your own destiny and get direct connect to your fan. You know, it was starting to be that. And Carl was forward thinking in those kinds of ways. I know he would have been able to kind of, like, see how me and Darnell just not figuring out the internet, like how we can, you know, Carl was one of them kind of dudes that was his thing anyways.
Welcome to the Goldfish Village podcast. As a Chinese proverb says, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. At Goldfish, our goal is to teach individuals just like you how to build wealth through real estate. You know, I want to, you know, kind of come to a conclusion, man. What are some of the things that you guys got going on right now?
Holla at him, D.
We got a new label called Hieroglyphics. We're gonna
I
try to
saw
do
that on
some,
Instagram. Yeah.
yeah, music and film and just a lot of cool content. You know, to borrow from our brother KRS-One. We trying to get some edutainment out there. You know what I mean? Educate and entertain at the same time, and you know, just keep on moving on, man. Taking our blessing and maximizing it. Basically, taking our bond and our network and all the people that we met, and you know, just doing good work with it all. That's what we doing, man.
So what type of artists are you looking to have on that label?
Like G was saying, we're gonna do some stuff for ourselves as Shy, and then maybe even different solo projects. We have an artist named Bishop the Weirdo. It's spelled W-E-A-R, like where though. But
Oh,
he's quite eccentric though too. So, but yeah, he's extremely talented writer,
Crazy.
performer, singer. Yeah, and you know, a few more things down the line, man.
and you guys have new members of Shot, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So when you guys put new members in the group, do they have to like audition, or is it like how does that even come into play?
Well, this particular iteration of Shy, like these guys, like one of the guys is one of those guys from the group Riff from back in the day.
Okay.
So that's brother. And the other guy was in the group Men of Vision that the group Riff, when they disbanded, a few of them went to Men of Vision. So stuff like that.
What about you, Dr. Garfield? What you got going on these days?
Man, when I got my PhD in 2018, December, I spent that next year writing a book called Lotus. It's it's speculative nonfiction, and it's in the year 3013. It's a combination of like Beat Street, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and Harry Potter. If you can mix all those together, you'll get Lotus 3013. Hip hop is believed to be a white cultural production in the year 3013, and there's protagonists, antagonists, but the show that hip hop was Black and Latino is a big thing. The penal system is all rap. It's just a lot to it. But I'm doing an audio book, and I'm finally finishing it up probably tomorrow, all 10 chapters, and then do some cinematography. So I'm gonna put that out. I'm also trying to do some programs for young Black men. I have a program called Raw Inc. That I'm trying to do. That is a critical thinking piece, a digital literacy piece that allows young Black men to get a narrative created based on us having conversations and me challenging them through rhyme to talk about what we just experienced when we talked about capitalism or colorism or different agenda items in the media. And then from there, there's a component of it because it's like a hip hop boot camp, but they end up using certain words, vocabulary words that we go over to create a supplemental vocabulary performance for teachers who want to use engaging supplemental material for their students. They can see these brothers rhyming these words and get the meaning through that, as opposed to studying the words definition like that. They can actually watch it being performed.
People want to get in touch with y'all or follow up, or do y'all have like a mailing list that people can get on, or any projects that people can look out for? I know you talked about your book, but is it like a website or something that you have where people can go check out your work?
Yeah, well, when I finish the book, I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna get it. It's gonna be on Amazon and those types of things. I'm gonna also have like a special limited thing to where it's gonna come from the audio book by itself. It's gonna come from my page. I'm gonna have a PayPal situation and digital link, but then I'm gonna expand it to where you're gonna be able to get the hard copy and the digital copy where you can read along, because the digital copy is gonna be cinematographically, done. It's gonna have sounds in it, just like a movie, but it's just gonna be an audio book.
Oh,
so,
nice.
So you'll be able to live it, because there's a lot of rhyme cadences and stuff in this book. And I figured two-dimensionally, when people read it, they might not read it in the right cadence and not get the full impact, but they hear me saying the characters and saying the rhymes, how they go, and it'll be better. But
that's pretty cool, man. When you do that, let me know, because I can push it out to everybody.
Oh yeah,
all
no
the alumni.
doubt.
So
I'll hit you with it. I will. I'm really close to being finished with it too, man. But
yeah, as soon as
Garfield, the Garfield Bright Experience is my personal IG and stuff. But Shy, for anything dealing with Shy stuff, you can look at Hieroglyphics. That's Facebook and the gram.
Okay. Do y'all get requests to like sing at weddings or anything like that?
All the time. And we do a lot of shows too. It's this one brother, Young Fly Entertainment. Lately, he's been booking a lot of shows with '90s artists on it, and like we were getting booked like at least twice a month, like every month of the year last year.
Nice
shows, and it's been a '90s thing. It's been a lot of fun, and people love it, so that keeps us working in that way too.
What advice do y'all have? Like if you what are you telling the 17-year-old Garfield coming into Howard, 17-year-old Darnell coming into Howard right now? What they want to be great, they want to make change at the university, they want to immerse themselves in the culture, they want to impact the culture when they leave. They want to be better than y'all. Like what advice are y'all giving them? We can start with you, Darnell.
I don't know, man. Just participate. Howard was so rich with opportunity when we were there. You just kind of go outside and be a part. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, the whole thing was forward progressing and advancing. So you just kind of get your surfboard, get on the wave, almost.
Yep, I'll second that. Like at Howard, I'll just say this, man. Like, don't be scared and be actually proactively vigilant about, in that little 4-year period of your time, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. If you're never going to do it again after that, or if you've never done it before, in that little moment, try to push yourself out of your comfort zone, because in that 4 years, that's going to establish like the boundary, baseline, floor to catapult you for whatever you do over the next 8 years is going to be based off the floor you build off those 4 years. So if you get started an ethic of just pushing yourself at points where you thought you had a ceiling and you didn't necessarily saw anybody else get past it, push yourself past it, no matter if you don't know what it's going to look like. And if you're scared of what it's going to look like, just go past it and see. It might be bad, it might be good, but then you'll have an experience that nobody else around you might have had, and you might be able to school other people who've done that, and you'll be broadened on your own. And then as you go through life, you won't be scared of, newness and different things that are outside of a certain element. You'll basically be teaching yourself how to learn. You're learning how to learn pretty much at that point. And that's going to be good for you, in anything that you find yourself in. Just push yourself to be uncomfortable and see how you wear that and get used to wearing that in ways to where you take that as your normal, and that'll allow you to explore and live life to a fuller place and get more wisdom out of it.
What about our legacy? 100 years from now, what are we saying about the legacy of Dr. Bright and Darnell?
Yeah, well, for me, in terms of just legacy from a brother who came through Howard, worked on Capitol Hill, worked the Senate Judiciary Committee, ate lunch with the Congressional Black Caucus, was in the Black organization that was about the activism, about that life, took over the A building, stood up for it, and actually followed through with it in the nation as well as in Black Near Force, but kept the consciousness to get a PhD, a terminal degree in education, to reach the height, at the same time being a multi-platinum artist. My legacy is, and a father to my sons, my legacy is, I was, instead of being either or and ascribing to an either or mentality, I was always about both and. Like whatever you have in you, both of those can live outside of you as well if you have that to give. And I exemplified that. I was about that. And so what I have to show for it, PhD in Educational Policy Studies with the award given for the best dissertation in my cohort, and multi-platinum status as an artist who expressed life through music on this side. And in the middle, the brother who's, hopefully grounded still and down to earth and people call brother. That could be a good legacy.
What about you, D?
I mean, I'm just part of the solution, man, not part of the problem. You know what I mean? That's it.
I like it, man. Tracy Lee was telling me how Biggie, the good thing about Biggie is that he always knew how to get his raps across without saying a lot of words. That's how Darnell is, you know what I'm saying?
Too.
Yeah, he get his point across without saying a bunch of words. He find the one word that meant a whole bunch of things.
He draw like that too. His art, you should see his art. He the dopest artist in 3 strokes. I swear to God.
All right, question. All right, first Jeopardy question, man. It's pretty easy. Y'all should get this. What year was Howard founded?
Hold up.
1867.
1867.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Let me see. Hold up.
What, are you going to check on something?
Probably.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, next one. What's the Howard motto?
Scheiße.
The model?
Onward, mighty. What is it? Onward? No. What is that? Does that have a
Yeah,
motto?
it's truth and service.
Oh, scheiße.
Really?
I didn't know that. That's a good one though.
Garfield? You got to get this one right, man. Who's the A building named after?
Mortimer. I'm a Mackay. What is the administrative? What's his name? Mortimer J. Wyatt, something like that.
Close, man. I think it's Mordecai Wyatt Johnson.
Yeah, Mordecai. Well, I said Mortimer. I'm thinking of what's that? Beverly Hills Cop? No, 48 hours, trading places. Yeah, trading places.
Yo,
Yeah,
didn't
Mordecai
y'all do a
Wyatt,
soundtrack for Beverly Hills Cop? Didn't y'all do something with them?
Yeah, Place Where You Belong. Yep.
Yeah, man, crazy.
That was the first single. Yeah, the Mordecai Wyatt building.
Finish this sentence. Reared against the eastern sky.
Oh my God. That's the deal. That's the thing. That's the Howard song, yo. I don't know that. I ain't never sing that song, man.
Come on, y'all singers, and y'all
Every
don't
time
know
Howard
this.
used to sing it at homecoming and stuff like that, I'll just be standing around like, how they know this? Like,
Oh man, they made me learn it.
Ain't it, oh, Howard, we sing to thee?
Yeah, something like that.
That's the end.
Oh, I thought you was at the end.
Reared against the eastern sky, proudly there on hilltop high.
Oh, right. I remember
Far above
that.
the lake so blue stands oh Howard old and true. Oh man,
I never been a traditional dude, man.
I was in some organizations. They made us join it. I was a campus pal.
Oh, you was a campus pal?
Part of our little hazing week, they made us sing that joint like a million times straight in the middle of the night. What's the Black national anthem?
Oh, come on, man. We got verses. Oh, say can if there be. We got the little voice because we got the same diminished harmonies for both of them. But if everybody sing James Weldon.
I was about to say, man. Oh, say can you see?
Oh yeah, I was hitting the national.
Man.
We got a little minor chord version of both of them, so they both hit me in the same way, the way we sing it. But yeah, lift every voice, man.
What? Y'all stayed in Sutton Plaza, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the address of Sutton?
1230 13th Street, Northwest.
Damn. Hey, nobody has gotten nobody. Y'all like my 34th guest. Nobody has gotten a freshman dorm address right.
Man, we live there, bro.
Darnell chilling over there. he didn't know that address.
1230 13th Street, Northwest, boy. Mama,
right.
send me your money order, damn it. I need that.
What's the zip code of Howard?
Oh shoot. Hold on, let me get it.
05, no.
Let me see how you nice cheap.
I was about to say my student ID number just now.
Oh, shit.
057993.
Damn, I
That's your ID number.
It's 20059.
That's right.
Man, I totally forgot that one. That don't even ring no bells.
Who's the president of Howard?
Oh, our former classmate. What's the name? The Jamaican dude, the West Indian dude.
Trinidad.
Trinidadian. I was just watching him on the news yesterday. Speak to issues of internet type schooling, like how that was. What's my man name? I know the brother. He be partying with us in a party.
Wayne.
Yeah.
Dr. Wayne Frederick.
Frederick.
Yeah.
That's it. I couldn't think of Frederick, man.
All right, next
I know that.
We're gonna do rapid fire. Now, rapid fire, you just gotta give a whatever comes to mind when I say these. So you gotta give a one-word answer, no explanation.
Okay, word up.
All right. Is Howard better as an alum is Homecoming better as an alum or a student?
Student.
Darnell?
Student.
Yeah, okay. Start, bench, or cut?
Start,
bench, or cut?
Start.
So you gotta start one, bench one, you gotta cut one.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me. I want to start. Always, I want the ball.
I was like, he ain't gave us the roster yet. He's talking about start.
Okay. All right, Teddy Riley, Quincy Jones, Diddy.
That's the master right there. Start, Quincy Jones, bench, Teddy Riley, and cut Diddy.
Same for you, Darnell?
Yes, sir.
Unless you're talking about just an overall business side of it, then you got to have but the talent musician, yeah, that's no brainers.
Okay, Star Bencher Cut. Silk, Boys to Men,
Oh my God.
Jodeci.
Oh my God. I can't. That's too hard, man. I can't even.
Yeah.
I'm a bad coach because everybody's starting. They just have to just give me a penalty and
You're
shit.
gonna
I'm
have
gonna have
text,
everybody on
man.
the
That's
floor.
too many players on the court. That's tech,
That's
man.
like, come on, like Lil G from Silk is a beast and a problem, right? Then Jodeci, come on, man. Like Devontae's production with Casey and JoJo's voices doing the stuff that they was doing in them days is a problem, man. Both of them
problem.
dudes. And then what was the other one?
Wanye and Sean.
Boys of Men? Oh my God, man. Come on, V.
They was like that?
Yeah, you know what? I can't even do that, man. Like I can't in good faith. Because as soon as I say a voice that I say is starting, then I hear the person on the bench voice in my ear, like, oh hell no. That's like, you know what I'm saying? That's like, come on, V.
So too tough for y'all. Y'all can't do that one.
That one is just way too tough. I can't not. It ain't clearly set up. Like Quincy Jones coming from a big band producer, doing all that Michael Jackson stuff, the syncopated rhythms, the inspiration for both of them other people in a lot of ways. There's no way he can't start. And then
Quincy Jones, that's a tough one right there.
And with Teddy Riley being a pianist like he is, and the percussive, like he created New Jack Swing for crying out loud. That's, Puffy put his name on a lot of different things and had the understanding of what's going to be hot, tastemaker wise. He's incredible at making taste. He knows what people going to resonate. But really actually making it, them other two dudes are musicians, dog. You know what I'm saying? So that was clear. But this one right here, I can't.
All right, we'll go to the next one, man. Since y'all can't get no answers. All right.
That's too hard.
Star Bencher Cut. Performing at homecoming, performing overseas to a non-English audience that knows all y'all words, or performing in your home state.
Homecoming for me, no brainer. Dead, done deal.
Homecoming start. I would say home state probably.
Yeah,
that's tight. I don't know. It's close on the second two.
But homecoming for me is the number one, man.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just, come on, you coming back to Howard and you rocking as an artist after you done slaved and toiled doing finals week trying to get an A on some exam. Here you come getting paid to rock. Yeah, man, and the love there and all that, But yeah, I probably take. Well, I don't know. Yeah, your home state, man. That's where everybody watched you really grow up from who you was as a little shorty to what you became.
Right.
There's something about that's a little higher than going to a place where nobody knows you, but they love your music. That's dope too, but the other two are more personal, personal.
That's true.
Star Bencher Cut. Writer, singer, producer.
Oh, see, that's easier for me because I'm not a producer per se, like how D is and stuff. But writing and singing go hand in hand for me. So
who you start, the writer or the singer?
Well, I'm looking at how LeBron came in being, that dude that'll just freight train you to the hoop, but he also audition on you like a point guard. And so he combining both of them. He's like a point forward. That's a new position. So writer, singer, they live as twins. Like I told you, I'm both and instead of either or. So I'm a writer, singer dude all day. Like when when you heard Shai music, most of the time when you heard somebody singing, they wrote that part. That's how we used to roll. Like you said, Carl wrote most of the stuff. He didn't. He wrote key pieces that people know Shai for, like If I Ever lyrics. But Mark actually by himself brought more songs to the table that he pre-written than anything. Like like we usually by committee wrote all of our songs on all of that stuff. But Mark actually brought Together Forever from high school. You know what I'm saying? I think he had a lot to do with the song changes lyrically during the storm and stuff like that. And all the little gospel things we did on there, like Lord I've Come, and but everything else you hear singing, when it's time for my part, I'm writing that. You know what I'm saying? I like hip hop. But writer, singer is the same for me. But D produces too, so I know he's all three of those. So I don't know how he's gonna do that one.
I mean, if you're talking about, if you said it like, would I rather write a song, sing a song, or produce a song? That publishing check is gonna make me say write a song.
Yeah, that's real spit. That's real spit.
Yeah.
And a producer, you killing two birds because a producer and a writer's the same thing too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I feel that, D. For that.
Sir.
Annex or quad?
Ooh, the women's annex. Is it still there?
Yeah, the annex is still there.
Yo, D, go ahead and tell
Why?
me about women's annex, what I did in the annex. Yo, I had to, hey, yo, check it, dude. As I digress one more time, this is ridiculous. I got to tell them myself. So the women's annex, right? You know, Howard used to then be automated like it is now. So we used to pick registration. Everybody be out on the yard with all the computers all the people from the A building and all that be out on the yard with computers. You got to go through these stations, wait thousands of hours in line to get classes. By the time I get to pick my classes, there's no more gym classes left except for badminton and ethnic dance. And I gotta get my little gym class going. So I opt for badminton as the lesser of the two evils, right? They closed that right when I picked it. So all that was left was the ethnic dance, African dance class. I joined up with African dance. It's in the women's annex. Now, by this time, I'm getting kind of popular on campus and stuff, right? She won't let us wear sweatpants and stuff like that. I'm the only dude in that class, bro. She made me put on track or tights and a t-shirt, like the girls, right? So my boy Bethel at the time, he was a track runner and whatever. I got his track tights. They was thicker than the other tights. At least I could do that. And I had a t-shirt down to my knees. But still, everybody found out, man. They was coming to the little square windows. Everybody's head was all in the windows looking at me in tights in there, man. I'm all embarrassed in there, man, walking around in tights, bro. Oh, it was the worst.
Oh man, that's crazy. Bro.
But the quad.
Welcome to Howard.
Yeah, the quad definitely for sure, bro. It ain't no comparison, at least back then.
What comes to mind when I say Howard experience?
Shoo, in one word?
One word.
Yums? No, I'm just kidding.
Crucible.
I would say, man, that's a good one. Golden era. That's two words, but it's a phrase, one phrase.
What comes to mind, the biggest lesson you learned so far in life?
God dang, bro.
One word. Or one phrase.
Discernment.
No I in team.
Dope. Hey, fellas, man, thanks for coming on the show, man. We went way over, but I feel like I know y'all in some respects, man. So thanks again, man.
Thanks for having us, man. I'm glad you're doing this, bro. And
yes, sir.
For real, I got your emails and stuff. I'm gonna be reaching out about the building thing. I'm serious. I'm gonna be in DC. We're gonna do that. Yeah,
I'm in Chicago, but yeah, I'm always down for a trip to DC, man. Anything you brothers need, please let me know, man. I consider y'all royalty when it comes to Howard, man. A lot of y'all paved the way for a lot of cats. A lot of babies was probably born in 92, 93 because of y'all. You know what I'm saying? So definitely appreciate y'all taking the time out. Thank you for joining the HU Movemaker podcast, where we highlight folks that have contributed to the Howard legacy at the highest levels. To hear more interviews or purchase merchandise, please visit www.humovemakers.com.